President William Ruto is in deep trouble as the judiciary turns against him. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we bring you news updates the way they break. Now, Kenya's High Court has dealt a major legal setback to President William Ruto after ruling that his decision to appoint 21 presidential advisors was unconstitutional. In a judgment delivered on Thursday, December 22nd, Justice Bahati Mwamuye issued an injunction orders barring the government from paying salaries or benefits to the advisors and declared that all 21 effectively ceased to hold office. The court found that the appointments violated the 2010 constitution by bypassing mandatory oversight bodies, ignoring public service laws, and failing to consider the financial impact of creating a new public office. The ruling followed a petition filed by Katiba Institute, a constitutional watchdog, which argued that the appointments were made without public participation and outside the established legal framework. Justice Mwamuye's decision adds to a growing list of court rulings that have tested the limit of executive power under Kenya's constitutional order and reaffirmed the judicial role in enforcing accountability. In his ruling, Justice Mwamuye barred the National Treasury and all government agencies from processing any remuneration, allowances, or benefits for the 21 advisors. The judge held that the offices that they occupied were not lawfully created and therefore could not attract public funds. The court further noted that the Salaries and the Remuneration Commission (SRC) was not consulted on the fiscal implications of the appointments despite its constitutional mandate to advise on public pay. According to the judge, this omission alone was enough to render the process unlawful. President William Ruto appointed the 21 advisors on May 2025, naming prominent figures from academia, diplomacy, and politics. They included economist David Ndii, former Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma, constitutional scholar Makau Mtua, and Jaoko Oburu, the son of the Siaya Senator Oburu Odinga. Supporters of the appointment said the advisors would provide specialized expertise to help the president implement his economical and governance agenda. However, critics quickly raised concerns about cost, transparency, and legality, especially at a time when the government was urging austerity measures. According to reporting by Reuters at the time, civil society groups questioned whether the advisors were being used to reward political allies through positions not provided for in the law. The High Court agreed with the critics that the appointments breached the core public service values, and Justice Mwamuye ruled that the process violated principles of transparency, fair competition, and merit, which are protected under Articles 10 and 232 of the Constitution. The judgment stated that creating officers through executive action alone undermines open recruitment and denies qualified Kenyans the opportunity to compete for the public roles. And the court also warned that unchecked creation of advisory positions risks inflating the public wage bill without parliamentary or institutional oversight. In its submissions, Katiba Institute argued that such practices weaken constitutional safeguards designed to prevent patronage and misuse of public resources. The court adopted the reasoning, emphasizing that even the president must operate within clearly defined legal boundaries. Beyond blocking the advisors' salaries, Justice Mwamuye issued a broader directive with far-reaching implications. He ordered the Public Service Commission to conduct a comprehensive audit within 90 days of all offices established within the Executive Office of the President. The audit is intended to verify whether these offices comply with the constitutional requirements, existing statutes, and public service regulations. Legal experts say this could expose other irregular appointments and force a restructuring of advisory roles at Statehouse. According to Public Service Commission on guidelines, any new public office must be justified by necessity, budgeted for, and approved through established procedures. Following the judgment, Katiba Institute welcomed the decision, describing it as a victory for constitutionalism. In a statement, the organization said that the court had reaffirmed that executive power must be exercised strictly in line with the Constitution, public participation, and fiscal responsibility. Katiba Institute has been involved in several high-profile or rather profile constitutional cases, often challenging executive actions in views of as overreach. Its work has been cited by international observers as part of Kenya's strong civil society tradition. The ruling fits into a broader pattern of Kenyan courts asserting independence since the adoption of the 2010 constitution. Courts have previously blocked the executive decisions of housing levies, procurement, and administrative restructuring when due process was not followed. In 2023 analysis, the BBC noted that Kenya's judiciary has become one of the most assertive in Africa, often stepping in to enforce constitutional limits on presidential authority. Justice Mwamuye's decision echoes earlier judgment, emphasizing the constitutional commissions are not optional consultative bodies, but mandatory safeguards against abuse of power. Justice Mwamuye clarified that the Attorney General Dorcas Oduor has the right to challenge the decision as the court at the Court of Appeal until such an appeal is filed and heard. However, the orders remain in force and advisors cannot be paid or legally function in their roles. Politically, the ruling is another blow to President William Ruto, whose administration has faced several legal challenges since taking office. Analysts say the decision could force the executive to rethink how it seeks expert advice, possibly shifting towards constitutionally recognized mechanisms of formal civil service roles. The judgment also sends a warning to future administrations that informal or expedient approaches to governance will not withstand legal scrutiny. This case goes beyond the fate of 21 presidential advisors. It strikes at the heart of Kenya's constitutional system, where the power is deliberately divided and constrained to prevent excess. By declaring the appointments unconstitutional, the High Court reaffirmed that no office, however close to the president, exists outside the law, and the ruling strengthens public confidence in independent institutions like the PSC and SRC, reinforces the importance of public participation, and protects taxpayers from unauthorized spending. As Kenya navigates economic pressure and political competition, the judgment underscores a central lesson of the 2010 Constitution, that is executive authority, which must always be exercised within clear legal limits. In doing so, the court has once again positioned the judiciary as critical guardian of the Kenya's democratic order. That's all for today from Kenya Lens Media, and if you're new here, kindly consider subscribing to our news channel.